Yes. Okay. Great. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. Wait a few minutes. Hi, Jahaira. Hi, Josh. Is anyone new in the writer salon? That would be great to know. Oh, you're new. Well, welcome, Max. Happy that you're here. If we can have our cameras like Jahaira, would be nice just to, feel the warmth and not being alone here talking to a screen. Okay, then it's like going back from 2021. Thank you. Nice to see people from the other side. Okay, we will start in 2 minutes. For the ones, it's the first time all the exercise are live, so you must have a pen or a computer. First, I start with some introduction of the theme, and then we start with the exercises, and we also share uh, what we want, or if we have questions around. Okay? Hi, Leslie.
Hi, how are you? Good morning.
Well, here no, here is afternoon. Okay, so I'm gonna start. It's going to be record, so yes. Let me share my screen. There's some. Okay, can you see the screen? Not yet, right? Now you can see it. Yes? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, amazing. Thank you for the confirmation. Welcome to this workshop, the soundtrack of a story, writing through songs. I'm very excited for this workshop. I think it's gonna be really creative and how we can use songs and how songs are similar to narrative and how we can incorporate that to our creative process. I'm Eli Villaman. Those are my Instagram accounts if you want to follow my project and my personal account. And I'm happy to be here and to meet new people also. So first, I want to start talking about like what is a song? Like is a form, it's also a form of storytelling created through a combination of lyrics, melody, rhythm, voice, and sound. So we have like those are the elements. In a storytelling, you have character, conflict, tension, theme, and other elements. In the song, you have like lyrics, melody, rhythm, voice, sound. But again, when you're hearing to a song and a specific song, you can listen to a story. You can start identifying with a character or with a place or with a specific situation. Okay. So songs can become like really special for writers because they communicate something emotional. Even when the singer is singing, It's like they're doing an interpretation, and it's more important the interpretation of the song than the song itself. Okay? So, what we can see in common between the storytelling and songs, like in both elements, we can have characters. Like there can be a character in a song, also in a storytelling, or the singer can be like the character, the narrator of the interpretation. So we can see that. There is conflict and tension, like still in the song, through the beats, through the rhythm, through the melody, we can start sensing like some tension around the song moving forward. There is emotion, like we can feel something. I don't know, like sometimes when you hear a song, then your body start like having physical sensations through the song. So that's interesting. And that's because different elements or instruments that are being used in the song and can get into your body the same way as you are reading a book or a short story and you start feeling something or you want to cry or you want to laugh, like there's a similar sensation. Let me see. Yes, I feel so much when I hear songs. Exactly. And you can also picture some images. That's a great comment. Thank you. I agree. Also, there is like a setting and an atmosphere, like we can feel a vibe, we can call it, when we listen to a song, and that directly put us in another mood, or it reminds us to a certain situation or a specific memory. And of course, what's important is, who am I after the song? Who am I after this short story, as after this novel, after this book? So there must be a change in the reader, but also in the character. And of course, there is a theme around the song. Okay. So just to start sharing a little bit, what do you think about these elements? Like, can you remember a song like, oh, I remember this song that has this character, or that has a lot of emotion, or that changed me in a way? Anything you want to share before we start the exercises will be amazing for us. The movie The Odyssey had a lot of these elements. Okay, I haven't seen that movie, but that's definitely on my list. Okay, that's great. Tango, yes, evokes a lot. Yes, I agree. Someone else that wants to share or to speak? I don't want to speak alone. I mean,
I
I
can
will get
share.
bored.
Hi,
Okay.
thank you. Hi everyone. I'm Diana. I'm gonna have my camera off because I am not camera ready today.
Okay.
But I love this so much because I yesterday I attended this event that one of my friends hosted, and it was like a pulse and pause. So it was like kind of DJ music, so moving our body, and then like a sound bath. And we had a moment where we paused to like just listen to a song. And that song reminded me of New Orleans. It reminded me of the word harmony. And I was just like sitting in there, just like having all of these images of the times that I've been to New Orleans. I have to, if I get the name of it, I'm going to share it here. But it was just like one of those moments where, like, when you really sit to listen to a song, how it evokes so much emotion and how things can kind of come up, memories, experiences, which is so beautiful. So I'm really excited to be here.
Oh, me too. Thank you, Diana. And I agree. It's amazing how your body has a physical connection, an emotional connection to something that is abstract, it's not concrete. You cannot catch a song. You can just listen. But you not only listen through your ears, you listen through your body, through your emotion, and also there is your memory. Like maybe this song remind me of my relationship with my mother, and my mother is having a situation. So now this song has a completely different meaning for me. It's like they say that never you put when you are in love, never use a song with a certain person because then if you break up, this song is wrong for you. So don't do that. It's something similar to that feeling. So thank you. So yes, so now I want to talk about certain tools around a song that also can be interesting for us, like the rhythm, the tempo, melody, instrumentation, volume, voice, lyrics, and that we can use. So the rhythm can be like the pattern of beats that organizes the movement of a song. So maybe when we are writing, we want to use a certain rhythm, not the whole song itself, but just like the rhythm helps me, inspires me to create something. So I'm going to listen to this song to be inspired by this rhythm and I'm going to start creating. Also, another interesting one can be tempo, and that refers to how fast or slow the music moves. And the same as writing, like when you want to show that the story is moving fast, you use like short phrases one after the other. But when you want to create the feeling that time is going slow, you create long phrases around a paragraph or a chapter. So that is like a tempo. And also like here, I'm going to put a fast tempo to create this specific feeling. Let me see what you said in the chat. Okay.
I was saying that there's these two songs that I love so, so much. And sometimes one of them brings me to tears sometimes. One is called Confieso. It's so beautiful because I can remember in the song in Spanish, it says like, I'm drinking coffee, I'm looking at a picture in the fridge of a vacation. You don't really know if the person is dead or not, or if they just kind of broke up with them, but it's so beautiful. And then the other song is Jueves by La Oreja de Van Gogh, I think. And it's just so nice. It's like a song about someone getting on the subway, on a train with a skirt, looking for someone. I don't know. Anyways, but they're both beautiful songs and they're like stories.
Yeah, and that's amazing because even if you speak a language or not, or even if the music has lyrics or not, still you can feel something around that. You can feel sensations and have interaction with the song. So yes, thank you, Leslie. Also like the melody, like in a specific writing or movies, we can sense like the melody, a childhood memory, and this can bring something to the room. And even in contradiction, like maybe this is a melody from childhood or from baby, but that's used in horror movies as well. So you can use it as contradiction. And also like instrument and texture, like each instrument like piano, cello, or guitar has different feelings. Usually when you listen to a piano, it's like this sad emotions, but not necessarily. Depends of that. And finally, we have like the lyrics. Like, let's see if the lyrics are in relationship with the character or not. Like this can be mirror the character. Like the character is doing things and we listen to the song and we can start to understand what's happening. Or the song can reflect what the character wants, but is not able to share. Okay, so that can be something interesting. So now, and again, that's what's interesting with this is like you can choose what you want. Like maybe from this song, I want to start with the melody. So you take this element and you go writing. And it's like the same when you are writing. You won't use all the elements to tell something specific. You will focus. I'm going to focus on the light, on the objects, and on this character. So I'm using these three elements to narrate a scene. The same with some. I'm going to focus on tempo and melody, or I'm going to focus on the rhythm, or I'm going to focus on the lyrics to create. So which detail can create like the space, which detail won't be won't be using it to the scene, and what does the song allow us to imagine without explicitly describing it. So the first element is how a song can introduce a character. Okay, so a song can help us to understand a character before the character explains itself. So the music is telling me things about the personality, the energy, the attitude, the social background, the emotional state. And I'm going to share with you an example, and then we'll start with the first exercise. I'm going to share it in the chat. Okay, so I will share this link in the chat. We will watch it and then we come back. Okay? Okay. So what do you think is interesting between the space, the character, and the song to introduce this character? What you find interesting in this proposal?
I think it's all the opposing um, elements of it. Like she's innocent, but she's not. She's rebellious. She's sexual, but she's also shows like that little girl side of her. She's uncontrollable, but she's behind bars. So it's all of these opposing things.
Exactly. There is a lot of contradiction. Like you don't know me from one side, and then she's like trapped in this space. Hmm? But even if she's trapped, she's doing whatever she wants, you know? And then there are other people maybe in an office that are more trapped than she is. Like we can see like how this can refer to the character, to the how you can use the character, the space, and a song to create a scene. Hmm? What else? Thank you, Carla. That was interesting. What else? Anything that comes to your mind?
Well, with that character, from what I remember, she's very defined by her relationship with another character, the Joker. And so this movie is like reframing that. Now you get to know who she is on her own, separate from her, like more delving deep. So it's like setting you up that it's going to be more. It's showing a new side of this character that you may have heard about.
Exactly. Here we start the scene with this introduction in a specific situation, and it's interesting how the elements play with each other. Okay, so let's start with the first exercise related to this. So basically, I want for you to choose a character, maybe a character you created or a random character, and you will choose one song for this character. And I want you to write the beginning of a scene in which we meet this character for the first time while the song is playing in the background, right? So do not explain the character's personality directly. Instead, use the song, the actions, the gesture, the objects in the space, the clothing, movement, and interaction with the space to introduce them. Okay? So I want you to play and go big with this one. We will take 10 minutes to create. You can use a character that you have, or you can use that character of the example, whatever you want. Okay? I'm going to start the timer. And again, you can use the sum to mirror in contradiction and how you will use also the space. The space have meaning and the elements that you choose to show the reader. Okay? And again, maybe you don't want to use the whole song, maybe just the melody or the tempo or certain rhythm or the instruments. Like you can play with that as well. Okay. So before we go to the next exercise, I always love to listen to the creative process. We won't read yet, but just tell me, was it easy to pick the song and the character? Was it hard to not of explain certain things in the scene? Like what happened? I want to listen uh, to some of you, like with the creative process with this exercise. Max?
I felt like as soon as I picked the song, the character kind of created itself, just because I had to do something to match the energy of the song. So it was a lot easier to come up with the character after I had the song ready.
Okay, I love that. So this was a character you didn't have, you created through the song. Okay, I love it. So the song helped you to find the characteristics, the personality, and everything you need for the scene, right? Okay, thank you for sharing. I love that. That could be interesting. Like this, what will happen if we start creating with the song to create the character instead of asking questions or writing? Okay, thank you, Max. What else happened? Another person that had a different experience.
Hi again. For me, the first time I heard this song, I instantly knew what the scene was going to be. And then the character and what they were going through in the moment. And every single time I hear the song, it's the same scene. And sitting and writing about it was actually really helpful because it allowed me to create more detail that I hadn't before. So, yeah.
Okay, I love this, like how a song can be related to a space or a specific situation, and how this space can change maybe in time for you, Diana, that you have this specific song that relates to this specific space. Like, what changes can this represent in time? You know, from 1 month or 2 years or a week. Okay. Someone else that wants to share what happened? Because we all learn from this communication. Okay. You will talk. Oh,
Sorry, sorry.
Jahaira.
Someone, someone was at my door. I don't know what they wanted. Anyway, no. I think that choosing the song created pacing. Like I was able to describe the environment without revealing anything as I introduced a new character by choosing instruments to cue, um, exposing like a part of the character. Let's say an opening of the door, the first step on the floor, getting up from a chair, having these single note instruments at the beginning of a song kind of create the anticipation. And then when the action began, the crescendo then started, and the entire symphony of instruments as a conglomerate came together to create, let's say, a fighting scene. So now it
I love
started
it.
very sharp and small and very particular as we expose this new character. But let's say once the scene progressed and it was a fighting scene, then that's when the entire orchestra kind of comes alive in a way.
Yeah, how you build tension using those elements, but also the elements in the scene. Like we can
Hmm.
watch a movie or a scene and or a fight without music is nothing, but with music is like everything, and we can uh, see that in movies. Okay, so yes, that's definitely interesting. It was hard for you to choose a song. I'm trying to write children's story. I wrote first. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't come easy. You gotta keep looking for, but it's the exercise. Okay, so we continue trying to find the right music for the theme. Okay, let's go to the next exercise. Also, you can share your name and your email because I will send you for the people that comes. I always send the exercises. So pop in the chat your name and email, and I will send you the exercises so you can repeat. So the next one, how using a song can transform a space. So, like we said, a song can change the way a character experiences a space without anything physical changing, like maybe I am in my room and suddenly a song starts and this song has a meaning for me. So now everything is changing because of that song in this particular space. So music can transform a space because it transforms the character emotional relationship with the space. So what is the space like before the music? That's interesting. What changes after the music begins, for the character? And what changes specifically and internally in the character. And we will watch another example and then we will do the exercise. Let me share with you the link. Okay, so here is the link. We will watch it and then we come back. Okay. Okay. So can someone tell me what's interesting between the space, the character, and the music? And yes, this is an amazing movie. If you haven't watched it, you must. What do you think about what we have in the environment, the atmosphere, and then the music and the character? What can you sense from that? Exactly. Exactly, Max. We have like this contradiction. If we have other music in this scene, there will be a completely different experience for us. But because we have this music, we have other experience and also we have information about the character. What can you sense about the character personality
His
or from the
his youthfulness. Like you can sense that he's lighthearted in this very dark, dangerous environment. This is somebody who maybe has like stunted growth. You know what I mean? Like he stayed very young, very youthful, very positive, very happy. No matter the situation, he's gonna enjoy it. Yeah. So
Exactly. Throwing away rats, walking in this dark space, but with this bright attitude. So that could be something interesting, not necessarily because I have a dark space, I have to introduce the character in that way. That depends on what I want to create for the reader and also what will follow the story. And this is quite significant for the movie. So, yeah. So now let's go with the exercise. He looks like a hard ass. Exactly. Yes, yes. Totally. Now let's go with the exercise. So now, um, okay, I want you to create a character inside a specific space, and you can begin the scene before the song starts, right? Establish the character relationship with the space, like we have before, like first the character and the space, and then you can introduce the song, okay? And when the song comes, we will see how the character changed based on the song, like his behavior, their perception of the space, the atmosphere of the scene, how everything changes because of that song. Okay? So we will take 10 minutes for that and enjoy. Be creative around this one. It could be mirror or in contradiction, like we saw in the example. So, was it easy to show the change in the scene after the song without over explaining yourself and the character? Was it easy? Was it hard? What happened over there? I want to know. Max?
I felt like it was easier to show after the music came just because the way that I set up the scene, I used the same character from the last scene, so it was a lot easier to demonstrate his mental state using the music as opposed to like how it was when it was silent.
Great. So you have the opportunity to put this character again with another situation and also that you know the characteristic and how this can change. And what specifically changed in your scene? Like more of the emotion or was more of behavior or what type of element was more?
I think the emotion and the behavior shifted drastically because the scene starts out very, very seriously. But then I think the intention was to make the audience kind of like laugh while also questioning the character's sanity after the music kicks in.
Okay, great. That's great because we don't have to over explain. We can let the reader to fill those blanks and to try to understand what's happening with this character. And that could be even more interesting than trying to over explain why this song is so important, da da da. Okay, so what else happened? Thank you, Matt. It's amazing that we can share and from the other people creative process I can learn, you know, from the light and from the mistakes. What else happened writing? Was it hard? Was it easy?
Um, I follow the guide of the physical space doesn't change, the meaning does.
Mm-hmm.
To and I chose like the same character but in a different scene. Um, a very calm, very light, meadowy spring day. We don't really see the person, and we just are overflown by the sounds of nature. And then we just see one drop of blood over the meadow, and we're like, "What's going on?" And then Juan Gabriel sings um Juan Gabriel sings Cuando te conocí, right? So it's like it's this very like intense song of a love gone wrong type thing. So we're immersed in this beautiful peaceful space, and then a little drop of blood on a little flower bud, and then him saying what he says kind of flips the meaning of what this peaceful place can be now isn't type thing. Yeah,
I
that's
love it.
it.
I
That's
love
it.
it. I love that also the space can become a character in this, like maybe the space can have
Mm-hmm.
a bigger um impact to the story and using that song can bring like the anticipation but then it can be just like the song or not we can play with that but I love that you can use also the space as another character in your story so that was great Johaira thank you someone else that wants to share what happened Josh.
Yes, I found that with my character is like kind of sinking into the environment. I'm writing a character that is going out into the nightlife scene and specifically Mexico City's nightlife scene. So I wanted to pick like a song that it's Bellanova's Tus Ojos, like kind of a song that he's like being immersed. And so like I specifically wrote that like he soothed himself to the music by nodding his head, like he's blending into the scene and so it's like almost like a character is being absorbed and hopefully like foreshadowing their journey after that.
I love that. That part of the atmosphere and how the atmosphere can get into the character's body and show us something about the emotions or the actions that will follow later. So yes, love it, Josh. Thank you for sharing. This is so interesting. Let's move to the other. So now I want to talk about how a song can have like a secret connection between characters, but the reader doesn't know anything about like what's happening there. Like sometimes it's like that. Two characters have a song that has a meaning, and the reader won't immediately know what's happening, but because of the behavior or the actions that follow, we can start making connections or interpretation, and maybe later on in the story we can start understanding, okay, that was her first son, or the son where they tell each other how much they love them, or that was the son that they listened when their father died. So it's like first, you don't need to explain instantly. Like create the moment, create the questions, and then you can answer. And again, we will watch an example and then we come back with the exercise, okay? So let me share with you. Okay, there is the scene. Let's watch it and we come back. Okay, so here we can see like there is this act of love in the middle of these concentration camps. And we don't know why the character thinks that is the same, but we can sense that means something for the other character, right? What can we sense from these a scene without knowing the whole movie or the details? Just based on the reaction of the other character.
Um, that perhaps the song evoked another time, like another place where they might have been enjoying it at the opera or dancing, or it teleported her to a different time where it's very possibly different than what she's living now. So the song had a meaning of an era of a time that is no more.
Exactly. And even though you don't know the details, you can share with us all of this perspective about this specific scene, you know? So that's for us to see, to understand, like, we don't have to explain so much as we think to uh create an emotion with the reader. You know, we just have to place the right elements at the right time with the right uh amount of intensity to create something. Exactly. I don't know what type of love, but there's love there. Very good. So now let's start with our exercise. Um, open. Okay. So now I want again for you, I want you to choose two characters and one song and give the song a private meaning connected to the relationship of the characters, can be lovers, friends, siblings, I don't know, mother and daughter, da da da. And you will write a scene in which the song begins to play. But don't explain for us, the reader, what this means. Just through the silence, through the gestures, eye contact, physical distance, interaction, show us what this song can be, you know? The reader should finish with this thinking, I don't know exactly what happened, but this song means something to them. Like, let me see, like Alexis said, I don't know what type of love, but there's love over there. So let's start with this. Remember to put your name and email so I can send you the exercise. First, you can make some notes to start understanding like the meaning, and then based on that, you can start writing so you don't over explain in your writing, okay? Or write and then highlight the things. Okay, this shouldn't be here. This I'm over explaining. You can do it both ways. Okay, before we do our last exercise, was it easy or hard to present the situation with the song and the characters again without over explaining uh, the situation? Hmm? What happened with the writing?
Yeah, I found it hard because I wanted the characters to talk about the song within it. The song I chose was "Supermodel" by SZA, and it's because it's a song about validation, and these are two characters looking for validation between each other. And I think it would be more powerful. You're saying to like let it just be subtle and more like let the audience figure out that this is what they're looking for within each other in that moment. So yeah, what I decided to do, I wrote it out, but then I deleted it in terms of um to see if it worked on its own, and I found that it was better on its own, just talking about how they moved within the context of the song.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. And that's normal. At first, we need to over explain, but then we go back to the writing and we rewrite and we take out the elements. Okay, this is not necessarily, or taking this out will be more interesting, And so it's not like they can talk about the song and they can tell certain things about the song, but not with the purpose of understanding to make the other understand the situation because maybe you and I experience a situation and we will talk in a way that only you and I know what happened. But if I want Leslie to understand what happened between you and I, then we would tell the things in another way because there are things that we know that Leslie doesn't. So that's different. So I know creating that can be challenged, but that is the right way. You write, then you identify, okay, where am I over explaining? Then I take that out or I save that because maybe now it's not necessarily, but later on it could be interesting for another scene. So we don't delete, we take that information out to use it later. So like that is like the creative process itself. Thank you, Josh. Someone else before we do the last exercise?
For me, it was I kind of got stuck until I chose the song. And then in order to choose the song, I was like kind of piggybacking from the example we saw. Then I went back into a childhood memory. And then I was like,
Mm.
okay, so what's a song from my childhood memory that if I was in a present day, I was very different than what that moment was, then how would I then describe, how would I then play out a scene? So then that helped me. Once I went to a past memory and chose a song from that memory, as an example, um, Madonna, like Get Into the Groove. Once I chose that song from that memory from a slumber party, then I was able to go into a future present where that kind of environment doesn't exist anymore. And then how do I introduce the song and play off two people knowing exactly what that slumber party moment was that no longer is?
Wow,
So
I love
going to
that.
my memory helped. Yeah.
I love that. And yes, like first we need to understand the relationship between the characters. Then, okay, how this son interacts with the characters. And then, like you said, like that son comes from time ago, like from my childhood and in a specific time and mean something as specific. But how I talked about this on now and who I am now. So all of that are other types of interactions with the son. And if I want to be more reflective about what happened, or if I want to go back exactly to the feeling in that precise moment, or how now maybe there are some like I didn't understood at the moment, and it's like, oh my God, this son mean da da da. So it's like interesting to see all those changes. And for you, I recommend you keep writing about this because for that, I want to share with you the exercises because maybe Now it won't come, but later on it could be interesting to continue exploring. Okay, so let's go to the last exercise. So now we will talk about writing a city through song, and I think this is quite interesting. Like song can also tell a story about places, uh, and we select particular images, sounds, people, rhythms about these. Like I have told this before, like before we don't have so much information about a location, so we have to describe a lot. New York, for example, we have to describe every detail of New York, but now just with one button I have all the information, so I'm not interested in that. Instead, I want to know how is New York to Yahaira or to Alexis or to Leslie. I want to know your New York. You show me how is New York for you, which are the places that you would like me to go. So let's listen to this song and then we go to the last exercise. So, what do you think about this song in Atlanta? Uh, with this representation, no, of the habits, the places, um, and how present everything. What do you think? Anyone from Atlanta?
I
Okay, so
actually
let's.
live in
Uh-huh.
Atlanta now. I
Okay,
moved here from Dykeman, and
that's
I could
great.
attest that Atlanta is still Atlanta.
Amazing. Thank you, Janelle. Okay, so let's do the last exercise before we go. Basically, I want for you to think about your city. It could be the city that you were born, the city that you love, the city that you have been many times. And I want you to start writing about this city, like what it sounds like, what smells like, what moves like, what is like at night, the people, like try to put some description about this place. It could be a poem or just to write a description or to write a story. This is more a free one. Okay, so let's do this last exercise. I will pause at 5 minutes for this one so we can share before you go, at least some paragraph. Okay. If you want to share a little piece or if you have questions before we go, this is the time. If you want to read any of the exercises or share anything with us. Feel. Anyone wants to share then? Yahaira, Natasha, Diana, Diana, Janelle, Leslie. Okay. Then I guess we go. I hope you can continue these exercises. This is about writing and rewriting the thing. I will send it to you also. And it's again, we are exploring here, but the idea is like the ones that you understand, oh, I like this one, you can continue. Or if you try again, what will happen? Okay. So thank you, everyone. I will send you the exercises.
Thank you.
Gracias.